I reckon some people might call us radicalized. We'll see about that. Welcome back to the I Reckon podcast. Hello, Dad.
Hello, Jizz.
Welcome back to the I Reckon podcast, everybody. Episode 2.
Dose.
We totally didn't just change clothes from the first episode to record this one. It's a totally different day, okay? It's a new day, it's a new episode, it's a new subject. Today we're going to talk about our worldview and why some people think other people are radical, particularly us. So,
see, you're scaring me.
I know.
I mean, there's a lot of adjectives that we could use to describe each other. I don't know that being radical is one of them, but we'll talk about it. We'll see.
It'll be up to you to judge at the end.
Right? We have to define it and,
Yeah. So what do you think it means nowadays when somebody says someone else is radicalized?
Well, I think that, to me, it means they're closed-minded, right? To me, if you say somebody's radical, that means it's their belief, and anything that is contradictory to what they believe is a non-starter. And they're not willing to have a discussion. They're not willing to move. They're not willing to hear the other side. They're firmly entrenched in what they believe, right, wrong, or indifferent, and they're inflexible on that. They're inflexible on that position. I think that's what, I think that's what it means to be radical to me, or radicalized.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a really good definition. I think that's what it ought to mean when we say that about somebody. I think that's the kind of person we should be talking about.
He doesn't mean it.
I know. I think more often than not, it is said about people who simply disagree with your position, unfortunately, in this world. And so we see the term radicalized really overused. And then I think it diminishes, if we just call on everybody that disagrees with us radicalized, it's like the boy who cried wolf, and then you try to warn somebody about like a view that is radical or someone who is truly radicalized, and then it doesn't mean anything to anybody because we've overused it. Can't think of any other terms that fit that mold.
I think, somebody's just blind to anything other than what they believe.
Yeah.
And, it's, and your point about that being more prevalent in our world today, I mean, that's well taken. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I wish it was deeper than that. I think our definition of radicalized is kind of shallow today.
Yeah, exactly. Completely agree. So what's a belief that you have that people might call extreme, but to you just feels like common sense?
A belief that I have that people might find extreme. God, I don't know. I think, I try to be kind of middle of the road. I'm trying to think on something, what's a belief that I have that's a hill that I would die on?
You want to hear mine?
Yeah. Buy some time here.
I think that if you're sat in the middle seat on an airplane, you get both armrests. Nothing irks me more than a window seater taking both armrests. What are you talking about? What do you mean? You can lean. Okay, here's how it goes. If you're in the window seat, you're up against the window. Okay, just put yourself in that corner and don't come out of it. Do not get up to use the bathroom. You have to need nothing. You've got the window seat. Be grateful. Don't ask for more. If you're in the middle, you're leaning back. Okay, you're getting both armrests. That's going to
both.
Both of them. It's going to keep you from going this way. It's going to keep you from going that way. You get both armrests, or if you're so inclined, you can go forward on the tray table in front of you. If you're in the aisle, people think the aisle is a bad place to be. Not necessarily. Free reign of the bathroom. You get an arm, and then you get a leg out in the aisle. And people don't realize that. You got to have your head on a swivel for when the drink cart comes by. But you should be grateful because you get an arm and a leg. And I don't think I don't think anybody's talking about this. If you're in the middle, you get both.
You don't get both. You're not entitled to both.
What does the middle person get? Because if the window and the aisle both get the other armrest, what's it leave the guy in the middle?
He's got a seat. He's got a tray table, right? He's got a tray table. I think you got a jockey for that. You have to go in early and establish your dominance. I don't think you're entitled to anything. All right? I think you got to go in there and you got to put your elbow back.
You have to occupy the armrest by force.
Swipe people forward. Yeah. Maybe you got to do a little lean
so
in.
Is that egalitarian? Is it one back, middle, back, outside, you get the forward portion of the armrest?
I think you got to go in there and establish and dominate the terrain you want. Right? I don't think you're entitled to anything.
And you've only got one elbow to defend your hard-earned ground with,
well,
which
that's
is
all
crazy.
They got.
Yeah.
That's all they got. But you're
I'm
taking
coming
away,
over with.
You're taking away. Why is the guy that's by the window only entitled to the window?
He's got an armrest over there, and he can put his head.
Does he
somewhere.
have an armrest over there?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Okay. Window definitely gets an armrest.
But he's only got one. You're saying the middle guy gets two.
Yeah, because he's also got somewhere to lean his head. Middle guy's got nowhere to go. Outside guy can lean, and he's got a leg.
Well, the outside guy doesn't have anywhere to lean his head.
Right, but he's got a leg.
Man.
You're writing off the leg. That's really important.
No, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think you got to go in there. You got to jockey for position. You got to get what's yours. You got to claim it. You got to stake your claim, plant your flag. And whatever you do, you don't talk about it. It's just passive aggressive actions.
Okay,
right?
So you and your wife Alana, you guys travel a lot.
Yeah, we try to.
What is the seating arrangement? Because you guys take some flights. So when you guys are booking seats, what's the arrangement? Knowing how you feel about armrests.
Well, I mean, and I know she's going to be watching this, so tread lightly here. When we book it, nothing. When we're getting on the plane,
negotiations commence.
Well, I'll be honest with you.
Bilateral negotiations.
I'll be honest with you. I will try to go towards the window, right? I will try to go towards the window.
And you're sitting here talking about the window guy only gets, but you're picking the window.
I am. And there's so much wrong with that as a man. I'm taking the coward's way out. There's no way I should put myself over by the window and leave her in the middle. But that's what I do. But I'm also known in our traveling entourage and our relationship. I'm also known as what's called the traveling princess, right? Like I'm not a decision maker when it comes to vacations. No. I am not a decision maker. I am the person that shows up when I'm told to show up. You better have my passport. You better have the flight itinerary. You better understand how we're getting to the airport. You better understand how we're getting from the airport at our destination to our hotel, because I don't plan any of those things. You
have always been that way. Even when you were in the Army, when you were on leave.
Yeah.
God help anybody that asked Jeff Maddox, what do you want to do on leave? What do you want to do for your birthday?
Don't even ask me what time it is.
Yeah.
Because we go on vacation or I'm on leave, I don't wear a watch.
Yeah. No, I think that's beautiful.
I don't even know what day it is. That's how I know I've had a successful vacation. If I'm like 4 or 5 days in and I don't know what day of the week it is, I'm having a good vacation, man.
That's it.
Right?
Dang. Poor Alana.
She is. I'm a travel princess. She is the organizer.
Yeah.
She is the person that makes all the arrangements, that keeps track of my passport.
Coordinates with the other parties, because you guys like to travel in groups.
Absolutely, we do.
Stunning.
We absolutely do. She makes sure that we're where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there. I'm just along for the ride. I don't even want to make a decision on where we eat. I don't. I don't even want to make a decision on what time we get up. The only way I will do that, the only way I'll put my foot down and make a decision is if something's not going well, or I'm not having a good time, or somebody's aggravating me. Then I'll make a decision, right?
Yeah.
But if things are going good and the vacation's low stress and we're having a great time, I'm just going with the flow, man.
Yeah. So if there's a problem, you do at least come to the table
I will.
with
Yeah.
the
If there's
solution.
a serious problem, or there's an issue, or life, health, safety, security kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'll weigh in then. But, if things are going according to schedule and according to plan, you just look over and I'm there.
That's great. I've known a lot of first sergeants like that,
I
actually.
think it's because you make decisions every day for everything and everybody, and I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know? When I'm off, I don't want to do it.
I totally understand that. I'm the same way. I have always hated traveling during leave or vacations. It's something that we kind of have to start doing now because we have a
Yeah, you got to
kid.
take the kid on parade.
Yeah, it is easier for me to do now because my whole life is a vacation. It's fantastic. I make
I don't even know this woman.
I do this and I giggle with a toddler all day long. So like now I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll travel. But when I was in the Army, dude, I didn't want to go anywhere because I was so tired. I was tired of making decisions. I was tired of rushing
Yeah.
around. I was tired of traveling just as
sure.
a general
Yeah,
rule.
yeah.
And all I wanted to do, and maybe this was like an early sign that like I needed to get out and just be a stay-at-home mom, is because I would like, I just wanted to like stay at home and play house. Like I was like, I want to get all this stuff done around the house. I want to go, get groceries. I'm going to make a couple home cooked meals because I have
I
time.
don't even know who this person is.
I know. I think that was like, I didn't even realize it, but that was probably,
She goes from planning airborne operations and laying in range cars for crew serve weapons to I want to stay at home and make some home cooked meals.
Sourdough
for my
bread.
family. Right?
everybody's got a sourdough bread
Who
phase.
is
If
that?
you are a left-leaning woman and you're making sourdough bread, you just wait. That's the first sign of a crack in the armor. You got a angry little toddler.
There he
Johnny,
is.
what do you want to tell the people? Oh, now you're shy. He's got jelly on his face, everybody. So it'll be.
We hope it's jelly.
Forget about it. Yeah, when I was in Ranger School, I was in Ranger School in the winter, so it was, I believe,
Cold Ranger.
Yeah, it was February when I started mountain phase, and it was 33 degrees and raining the whole time.
That's good stuff.
Didn't see the sun for 10 days. Just warm enough so that it wasn't snow, so you were wet.
It's perfect.
The snow is fine. I've got no issue with snow. If I've got the gear, snow, I'm bouncing through like a snow bunny. It's like I'm good to go. Cold and wet will break a man.
That's what I've always said. That's what I've always said. I could be cold or I could be wet, but I cannot be both.
Yes.
Right? And that, one of the most miserable times that I experienced in the Army was a combination of cold and wet when we were in Bosnia. It was just miserable. That's the only time I ever considered quitting anything in the Army. I mean, I was
Bosnia?
literally,
How
yes.
does one even quit in Bosnia? What do you do?
Look,
you
you're
just
in a,
like walk to.
Yeah, I'm done.
Estonia?
I'm going back to the house. Right? I'm going back to the tent where the heater is, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting in a fighting position, a bunker, and we've got a crew serve weapon down high speed avenue of approach to the FOB or LSA or whatever it is we were staying on at the time, and it is just so cold.
No.
It is so cold and it is so wet, and I am so miserable. That I'm really evaluating life choices at this point in time, and I'm just questioning why I'm there and what
am
I'm
I doing?
right?
Yeah.
But it goes away as fast as it comes on you.
Sure.
You get back there, you get something warm in your stomach, and then you get to cuddle up next to the kerosene heaters we had in our tent,
Or one of your
Don't
best
judge me.
friends.
Or one of your best friends, right? Done that too. And it goes away as quick as it gets there, and then you got a great story to tell
That's
years
true.
down the line.
Yeah, we were going up some really steep terrain, just getting pissed on and freezing. It was so bad that like even walking, you wouldn't warm up. Yeah, so even the walking was not warming us up very much. And I had this thought in my head of my parents would be just as proud of me if I was a really good mom.
That's true too.
And that was an early indication of
that was
what
the first crack in the
hell?
ice, and the first chink in the armor.
Yeah, it was like the first little crack of sunlight peeked through.
Right.
I
I will tell you, I remember, I don't know if you called, you had to have called, and I'm going to put some of her laundry out there. She recycled Mountain Phase the first time. No, hey, no judgment here, not tab, so I'm luckily to be able to, sit at the same table.
loved it so much I wanted to do it again,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
and what the concerning part to me was, one, not having experienced it, but had been around the Army that long, I understood what the challenge was. I understood how demanding and how difficult that school is. And I also knew that you had never failed at anything. You know,
Yeah.
you had been wildly successful and crushed everything that had been put in front of you. And I was really concerned when you told me that you recycled Mountain Phase, and I didn't want to ask, but I had to know, where your head was, and we were talking about it, and, I asked, physically, how are you? I'm a little bit worn down, but I'm not hurt.
Yeah.
Or I'm hurt, but I'm not injured.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because there is a difference. We can talk about that sometime.
Absolutely.
I am hurt, but I'm not injured. And then, without me prompting, you told me there's two ways off of this damn mountain. Move into swamp phase, or somebody's carrying me feet first.
Yeah.
So I
That's
knew
true.
then that your mind was in the right place. I knew your mind was in the right place going into it because I watched you prepare.
Yeah.
And I watched you get yourself mentally and physically ready to go. But what really concerned me was that was the first time I could ever say, man, she didn't get what she was looking for.
I smelled
right there.
defeat.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
tasted it that one time,
Yeah, and I think that's, that was a really important part of my experience. Everybody gets something different out
Yeah,
of
I'm
Ranger
sure they
School.
do.
Even the people that go through in 62 days,
Right.
people who were already NCOs, already leaders when they show up, people who were infantrymen before weren't. It doesn't matter. Like, you're going to get something out of it. It's going to look a little different for everybody. And I think being really close to failure, but at no point in time was I ever really worried. Like, I felt like I was there on bonus points. Like, the fact that I was even there was like fantastic. I didn't feel like I deserved it because I just knew, like, from your time in the Army, how many women did you serve with who could have made it, but they never had the opportunity?
Yeah, there was a handful.
Yeah. So, so I look at, and those are the ones that we're still friends with,
Yeah.
So like I look at them and I'm like, man, I couldn't hold a candle to Chauncey, so I'm here on bonus points.
Yeah.
Little bit of imposter syndrome, but
You were in the right place at the right time.
yeah, I just treated
Given the
every
right
day
opportunity.
like, I honestly looked at it like a deployment, I guess, where it's like, you go home when it's over.
Yeah.
Like, I would put myself in the position of, like, maybe some of the guys in Vietnam who didn't really have an understanding of how long they would be there, or like World War One and
World
Two.
War II is the best case scenario of that. There was only a couple ways home in World War II. One was injured, one was in a box, and one was victory.
When it was over.
Yeah, when it was over. We were
Exactly.
there until it was done.
Yep.
And then troop rotations in Vietnam. We can talk about that. Was it really wasn't units, guidons rotated in, right? But then people rotated every year into those guidons.
Right.
So when you talk about team building, you talk about the bonds and the cohesion that's required to execute a mission, or that give you the advantage when you're executing a mission. That was really eroded by the way we replaced personnel in units in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Well,
and like the types of people, like with the draftees and
Yeah.
kind of some of the issues with the
Yeah, sure.
people that they were drafting. Like,
Sure.
I bet there was plenty of dudes that were over there who had no idea when they were going
No.
home. Just in terms of information trickling down or
Yeah,
changing
I don't
or
know.
whatever.
I think everybody knew because, I think everybody talked about how short they were.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, your countdown, your 365 started when you stepped off the plane.
Oh,
you know?
interesting.
I had one of my first operations sergeants. I came in 91. One of my first operations sergeants was a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
And he seemed old then, His name was Sergeant Armin Trout, right? Great guy, very smart, very tactically sound. And to hear him describe it and talk about it, they knew, he could go back to different significant events during his tour, and he will be able to tell you, like, okay, I was at day 181.
Oh my
and this
gosh.
crap happened. So I don't.
Wow.
My experience is the guys that were over there, they knew to the day, when
they'd
they were
be
coming
out.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just tried to view Ranger School as like, it's done when it's done.
It's done when it's done.
And you don't have a
going
say.
back to that, I knew when I talked to you over the phone and you told me, you were getting, you're getting recycled and you were going back through Mountain. I was worried at first, but then, when I heard you talk about it, I knew your head was in the right place and that you were going to get what you went there for. We're having some technical difficulties. Well, it's not technical difficulties, it's grandson difficulties, and those are never difficulties.
Yeah.
Right? He gets away with murder as long as he's polite.
Yeah, I guess we have 3 hosts on the podcast.
We do. Well, we've got
Johnny.
We've got 2 hosts and a director.
Yeah,
he's rearranging lighting. He's improving or eroding our camera
he
angles.
Definitely gets a vote.
Yeah, the enemy always. Well, he's not the enemy, but the adversary always gets a vote.
The adversary. Oh man. Okay, so speaking of,
get that where you want it, buddy.
I knew this was gonna happen.
Yeah. I would tell you, we were talking about being, things that maybe have changed or whatever, but I have so much more patience now than I probably had when you were growing up. I have so much more patience. I think some of it is how old I am. Some of it's, the job that I'm in right now. And, some of it's the 2-foot midget over here that's rearranging our setup. But I have a lot more patience because this just cracks me up right now.
We might have to keep this. I think this footage is going to be really great.
No, there's probably some. This will be a good. This will be a good blooper reel.
Man. Okay.
Good blooper reel.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
Very
good. Number 1.
That's a good director, buddy.
All done.
He's a little Martin Scorsese over here, getting light and camera angles squared away. Hard guy to work for. Very demanding. Very demanding.
He makes a lot of tweaks.
Yep. His way or the highway.
A lot of tweaks. So speaking of Ranger School and all this stuff, quite literally, picking your battles. You hear that term a lot.
Yeah.
And we're talking about worldview, being radicalized, meaning like you're really rigid in your views and stuff like that. So when it comes time to push back, what's your litmus test of like, is the juice worth the squeeze on this one?
Each man, I will tell you, we all learn lessons in our career, and we all learn lessons in the Army. This was the hardest lesson I ever learned in the Army, was when to push back, when to let this one slide for the next one. That was such a hard lesson for me to learn, and I don't think I learned it and understood it fully until I was a platoon sergeant. Because before that, if there was an issue, if there was something that maybe I didn't agree with, or it came down to 2 different courses of action, it was always my course of action, and I'd die on that hill for it. Sometimes, the juice isn't always worth the squeeze, and knowing when and how to pick the battles is very important, because especially as a senior leader, I think it's important that you define what's important to your people and to your organization, right? And everything can't be. Right?
Yeah.
Everything can't be. If everything's important, nothing's important, right?
Yep.
So you really got to pick and choose. And the things you choose have to be those high payoff things, that make money for you in different ways, right? Knowing which battle to fight and which battle just to let go, and it was a tough lesson for me to learn, because I thought, for a long time that, it was my way or the highway. I was right. I was successful at what I had done. I'd moved along quickly. I'd been given tremendous amounts of responsibility. I had, had a successful career, and, it really took some maturity. It took a deep kit bag. It took great platoon leaders. It took great company commanders and, honestly, battalion commanders to teach me, hey, not everything is worth fighting for. You can't Don Quixote every windmill.
Shout out to the officer corps. This is a rare W for lieutenants just now.
Absolutely.
That's so crazy.
So and you got to define those things, and I think you have to look you have to be introspective, and you have to look at the things that are important to you. And those are the things that, that you prioritize and that you make important. And then there's some things that you just got to let it slide.
Yeah.
And it's a tough choice, and it's different for everybody. It's different based off of your leadership style. It's different, I would argue, it's different based off of what kind of organization you're leading or what kind of organization you're in.
Very true.
I believe that. And what environment you find yourself.
Yeah, the difference, so you're coming at it, you were an NCO through and through, all 28 years. And I think this question, we're kind of taking it toward how I pick my battles now is, I don't know, I don't know that I know how to pick my battles right now, so I'm not going to necessarily comment on it, but I did know when I was in the Army, what that looked like.
Well, let's move it away from the Army.
Well, no, I want to move it in.
Let's talk about our spouses.
How
do you know what battle to pick with them? How do I know what battle to pick with Alana?
Yeah, that's hard to answer. I don't know that I do know. I think, when you were talking about, does it pass the smell test for what's important to you?
Right.
The health of my marriage is very important to me. Giving my husband a soft landing pad at the house is very important because I know what he's asked to do at work. And sometimes he'll send me pictures from, different training events and stuff because they've always got somebody running around with a camera. I love when he does that because, not only does he look cool and it's awesome and stuff like that, it reminds me who that man is. Because if you
things he sees every day that
if you only look at your spouse for who they are at home, leaving hats on the countertop, not cleaning out the sink. It's very easy to look at somebody when they're at home and they're most tired and they're most vulnerable because they're around you. They feel safe around you. Right. And so they kind of let it. But it's really because I'm not in the Army anymore. I don't see Jordan at work. And so seeing him in that element reminds me that the guy that leaves his hats on the countertop is my husband. So's that guy in that picture. And so I remember that, and I think it's I respect Jordan, and so it's really important for me to show that. And I pick my battles just based on and I fail all the time. I screw this up all the time, but I try to be, I try to be a good wife. And the marriage is the woman's role in a marriage is kind of that of the church's role.
All right, you're gonna have to break that down for me because I'm not.
Yeah, so when it comes to kind of leading a family, I look at the husband as fulfilling kind of Christ's role in the family, and the woman fulfilling the church's role in the family. So not to say that Jordan is Jesus, he's not. But when I say he's the leader in faith, he's shepherding us toward a closer relationship with God. And then, I'm the church in our relationship. So creating that space where people can gather, people can know Jesus.
Upon this rock.
Exactly. People can see, God's grace in this space that I've created. And that's a good litmus test for picking a battle is is it worth it to argue about this thing right now? Is this going to move the family forward, or are we just being nasty?
Yeah. I mean, I get the same thing, and it's, giving you a little bit of insight into, Jessica's been, pretty much an open book through our first two episodes of this, about her relationship, with Jordo and what's important to her and what she tries to do for him. And I will tell you, Alana's got such a diverse set of roles because some of the things that I hear Jessica saying are things that I recognize that Alana does for me. Alana makes sure that there's peace in our house, and that's very important to me. And she did that when I was in, and she's continued to do that, as I've transitioned into a civilian, and with my job there, because job's still a little bit of pressure sometimes in it, but nothing we
it's still
can't
high
handle,
stakes,
right?
Yeah.
It is high stakes, in a different way, But she has her own career, she has her own business. She's an attorney, and she employs 6 people now, and we've been very blessed with the progress of her career.
Yeah.
But she still maintains that place of peace for me, right? And hearing you talk about that, maybe I need to relook a little bit about what I'm doing to make sure that she's taken care of, because she's in the leadership role now. She's in the shot caller role, being a business owner and an employer of other folks. So and this is one of the things that I've made very conscious efforts to do, because the entire time that we were together and I was in the Army, she supported me 100%.
Yes.
Wherever I wanted to go, whatever I wanted to do, if I had to drop everything that we had going on and leave for months at a time, I did so without a worry in my pocket, and she made that happen and made that available, right? So when I retired, it was very important to me to be able to return that favor for her, because when we started dating and getting serious, 16, 17, 20 years ago, whatever it was, it's got to be getting close to 20. She's going to kill me because I don't remember the exact
I think
date.
You guys have been together for about over 20, but
I think
married
you're right.
has been a bit less.
Right. So she did that unselfishly. We met, we were here. I got orders to go to El Paso, Texas for 10 months. And, we weren't at the time married, and she made plans to pick up and move and go there with me. The whole reason she's from Minnesota. The whole reason she was
and we're back.
The whole reason she was here was because she came down from Minnesota to go to law school, and then we met and started dating, and that kind of got put on hold. So when it was time for me to retire, I wanted to give back to her the things that she had given back to me.
Right.
The ability for me to pursue my career wherever that took me, whatever that was. I wanted to at least offer her the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And that was very important. And hopefully she's getting the same professional fulfillment out of us being able for her to be an attorney that I got, when she allowed me to.
Oh, I definitely
to be a leader and a soldier. So.
I definitely think. I mean, you don't get through law school unless you really want to do it, you know. So,
right.
But yeah, and I think, and I don't think you need to put too much pressure on yourself, or since it's her turn to be in the leadership role, am I, doing the stuff that she did for me. Again, she wouldn't be, a lawyer if she didn't want to be. She would not have taken care of you for all these years if she didn't want to. I think
she did.
I'm speaking for you now, Alana. I think that brings her great joy to take care of you. But, there's always ways that we can
either
help
it brings her
out.
great joy, or she's trying to keep me around long enough to continue to torment me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a fine line there, and depending. All right, we're back. Ran out of battery. We're rookies at this, but we'll get better.
We have absolutely no idea what we're doing.
None whatsoever.
But yeah, what you were saying when we ran out of battery was. Do you remember?
Hang on. We were talking about Alana and the importance of supporting your spouse.
She does it because she loves you.
She does.
There's always room to help out.
There is, right? And you I think we're talking about supporting at different times in our life, but there's got to be day-to-day support too.
Yeah.
There absolutely does. I mean, if you want to build a life with somebody, you have to build it with them. Mm-hmm. It's not easy, right? It requires maintenance. It requires compassion. It requires understanding. It requires grace. It requires forgiveness. All those things, right?
The baby is playing with the camera.
Yeah, we're watching.
We're in a watch and hold pattern.
What the director has in store for us over there.
People watching on YouTube are going to love this. People listening on Spotify
they're not going to get it because you can't see it, right? Yeah.
It's okay.
Our camera's hooked up to a portable battery right now.
Because I'm prepared.
Yeah, and it's got Johnny's attention, and we're both sitting here waiting to see if he unplugs it.
Yeah. So far, so good.
All right, I think he's gotten bored with it.
He's bored.
Thank goodness he has the attention span of a gnat.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, day-to-day support,
Yeah, it's very
super
important.
crucial. Sometimes when Jordan is gone, I mow the lawn. And sometimes if I'm really tired, Jordan does the dishes.
Oh, my God.
I know.
That's
and that is how.
Ours is different. You know, ours is different. Our definition or our line, I think you got to have lines. You got to understand what your roles, responsibilities, and what your lane are.
If two people are sweeping the floor, somebody's got to be the boss.
That's right. So if it's outside the house, primarily my responsibility. If it's inside the house, primarily her responsibility to tell me what to do when she needs or wants help. Don't let me guess. I don't guess well.
Sure.
If you need me to do something, tell me, hey, can you do this? Will you take out the trash? Will you change the laundry?
Yep.
Will you help me put the sheets on the bed?
Yeah.
I don't guess well.
Right.
All right? I don't. So, you know,
because your brain isn't wired to think about that stuff all the time.
You know,
because women, like, I know, just like Jordan knows the status of every single weapon in our house. Is it loaded?
Yep.
Unloaded? Is there a round in the chamber?
Yep, 100%.
Is it in a holster or not? He knows I know where my shit is, and that is it.
And then it goes the same way, you know, outside. You know, I know when the grass needs cutting. I know, like when I get home today, I know that I've got to take care of the pool. You know, because I've neglected it for 2 days.
But you don't know.
And it's eating on me.
Are there dishes in the dishwasher or not? Are they clean or not? You have no idea.
I know there's dishes in the dishwater.
Are they clean or not?
I can't answer that. See? I can't. I know the ones in the sink are dirty because they're in the sink. There you go. Right? They're full of water. Right? So I don't. I know. I do okay with laundry. You know, but okay. Well, I say I take care of outside. She takes care of inside. As far as establishing priorities of work, right, and what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and who's kind of in charge of moving it, right? To your point, if both people are sweeping, somebody's got to be in charge.
When a car needs maintenance, walk me through the task org. Who's doing what?
Oh, man. See, we're at a point in our lives where when the light comes on, it goes to the dealer.
Yeah. So who takes it to the dealer?
Whoever
drives it. That's nice.
Whoever car it is. I won't even, look. Alana and I do not fight. You can count on one hand the serious times I don't think we've ever raised our voice at each other in 20 years.
That's great.
And we don't fight.
Yeah.
We will discuss, work it out. But one of the things that would cause us to have to discuss and work something out would be when I get in her car or we're going someplace and she immediately has to stop for gas. She will run a gas tank down. She's got that little feature in her car that counts down the number of miles until she's empty.
And she's like, I've got 7.
And she can tell you, she could tell you how low she's had. Like, I've had it to 3 before.
That's got to be a Midwestern thing.
I start itching when the gas.
Tank.
Yes.
Half a tank.
Yeah, I'm looking for something to do.
So
at half a tank, I'm looking for a gas station.
For people that don't know,
out.
Our spouses, his wife, my husband, are from the Midwest. Alana's from Minnesota. Jordan's from Wisconsin. We're from the South.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if because Jordan is the same way. I'll be like, oh, I got 150 miles left. I need to get gas.
I don't even look at the number. I look at the gauge. At half a tank, I'm looking for an opportunity. Because you never know.
You never know when you got to get up and boogie, okay? You don't know when you could be in the middle of a car chase and you want to be on a quarter of a tank.
No.
You don't know what could happen.
Yeah.
And you would think, the South, relatively fair weather, running out of gas in Minnesota in the winter is
much more
high
catastrophic.
Stakes. So you would think that they would care.
The risk assessment there is much higher.
They don't care.
No, they won't. Alana will run that thing down. She goes, I've had it down to 3 miles before. Man.
Just trust in that software,
I know, right?
dude. Like, because
what if you got to stomp on that thing, man?
We've never had a software issue before.
No, right?
It's so nuts. But
so she will. But she's gotten better about it, right? She has gotten better about it. She's gotten to the point now that she'll tell me I filled up the car today. It was only on half a tank.
Yeah. And you're you're not telling her that because you're trying to be nasty. You're telling
No.
her that because when she's in her car,
Yeah.
you're not there.
Well,
and you care about her safety. You
I do.
care
I
about,
do.
you know, and so this is your way of, you know, kind of showing that you care. And it
Yeah.
just sounds like nagging, but it's
But
not.
going back to that stuff, maintenance, her car, her show, maintenance on the truck, my
Yeah.
truck, my show.
Nice.
You know, but we, you know, and what works for us won't work for everybody. You know,
No.
I mean, we're separate. We're separate but equal. I don't know if I can say that. I mean, that's that's a little twisted, right? But
a little on the nose.
yeah, a little pull on
Whatever.
the nose there. Where was I going with that? Oh, to this day, we keep separate checking accounts, separate
Yeah.
savings accounts.
Yeah.
Right? We come together the first week of every month, and we know who's responsible for what bill in our house.
Yeah.
We sit down together and we pay the bills. You know, what she is responsible for, she pays out of her checking account. And what I'm responsible for, I pay out of mine. And I know some couples that could not do that. You know,
Yeah, they've got the joint.
They, you know, but you know, it's just
Yeah, we've always
we
maintained
do that.
separate checking accounts. We have a shared credit card, which is good.
Well, we don't even do that.
Yeah,
I mean, the only
and
thing we have that's
it's the
shared is
grocery
probably our
card.
HELOC.
Yeah.
You know, our HELOC.
Yeah,
share.
we've got that blue Amex that you get like 6% back at
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah, I got a-
So we
Hey,
each have.
shout out to Amex, right?
Yeah.
I got a notice about that blue card the other day and how it matches
It's
up
good.
to your platinum card, right?
Yeah.
So hey, I will tell you this, and then we don't get anything back from Amex, but if you're a young soldier, right, and you are financially responsible, the Amex platinum card for you
Oh, yeah.
is something big, right? You should consider that, because if you're active duty, they will waive.
Like $500 in annual membership fee.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive to have one. It's a privilege. Membership has its privileges, right? And again, we're not championing
This is not
Amex.
paid.
I mean,
this is our second
it's like-
episode. There's no way.
Right.
But
I mean-
Amex, hey, you know.
you know, if you're a young soldier and you're financially responsible, that's a great card to have. You know, especially if you travel a lot. So, but yeah, shout out. To
Yeah.
Amex.
But yeah, so we do share that one thing. And then we're considering doing a joint Robinhood account for investments.
Yeah.
Because what it allows is, you know, he can set up investments while he's gone. If he doesn't want to log into his Robinhood in another country, I can make some plays.
Oh yeah, that makes
So
sense.
he can
'Cause
monitor the
You got to be
market.
careful when you get in your financial institutions when you're in a different
Exactly.
part of the world,
Yeah, you don't
because you
wanna
don't know
log in.
what you're running it through and
Yeah.
who's fishing for you. So
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So like there's things that are separate, there's things that we share, and then we just dip over every once in a while into the other person's duties and responsibilities, because again, the health of the marriage is
First and foremost, that
First
has
and
to be-
foremost, yeah. So going back to picking your battles, you know, is this going to make our marriage better or worse? I think is an important question to ask before you launch into something. Now, half the time I will not think about that at all, and I'll just
No, I
open
know.
my mouth.
Yeah, and there we go.
And something comes out, and
You
then,
come by
you
that
know,
honestly, I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah, and like forgiveness might be another topic for another day.
Yeah.
And grace,
Yeah.
you know, but we get a lot of that too. So yeah, I think, you know, some people, I reckon, we aren't that radicalized at all.
No, I don't. We're not. You know,
I
we
can't
joke around. We're not radicalized. I think we're very
We just say some
We're
stuff
sure
sometimes that is
of where we
unpopular.
are. I mean, we will
Yeah.
say some stuff, and that's okay, right? One of the greatest things about being an American is you can disagree with somebody.
Yeah.
Or you should be able to disagree with somebody. You should be able to have a conversation about it without it turning into a relationship ender. Right?
Yes.
It should never end a relationship. You know, and at the end of the day, you pitch your side, I'll pitch my side, and if we agree to disagree, it ends there. You know?
Yeah.
All this hate and rage, and you know, the other side is the devil, or you know, if you don't believe like I believe, you're screwed up. We got to move away from that, man.
Yeah.
You know, we've
How
got to
many
move
people
away
aren't
from that.
talking to family members right now
Man,
because
life's
of
too
some
short to go through
politician that they
You know,
voted for?
Don't
like,
let politics get in the way of that stuff. The politics is important. It you know, we're impacted by it every day in what we do, but it should not be something that drives a wedge in a family.
Yeah,
right?
I
It shouldn't.
completely agree.
I mean, it's their opinion. Let them have it.
Yeah.
You know, our Constitution allows for that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we could discuss at a later date the merits and pitfalls of a two-party system.
Yeah.
But
For real. Gee Louise.
I mean, that's for a different day. But just because somebody doesn't believe the way you believe or believe what you believe, that doesn't make them a villain. It doesn't make them evil.
Yeah.
You know?
I think where people get into trouble is when it's like, when you feel like the facts are on your side and you have the facts and you're telling someone the facts and they're not hearing them, or they're not. And that is where grace comes into play. Like, personally, nobody would just believe something that someone is telling you for the very first time. It would be odd.
Right.
If I were to just like put a bunch of stuff in front of you that you've never heard before and you were like, well, I guess that's it. You've convinced me.
Now I've got to digest it. I just got to run through the
And I
blender
think,
up here
and
a
that's
couple
a good
times,
thing.
right?
And like, we do that ourselves. Like, when we hear something new for the first time, we digest it. But then when we tell someone else something new for the first time, we expect them to just see it our way, straight away. And it's like, yeah, just give people a little bit of grace. And if the facts truly are on your side and that person is truly open to changing their opinions based on evolving facts, which most people are, you know, I think you'll come to an agreement eventually. It doesn't have to be like right then. And just because someone believes something different than you doesn't necessarily mean that they are a bad person.
I think what's important to you and what your beliefs are and and your opinions a lot of times is a reflection of where you stand, you know? And if you move either spiritually, emotionally, professionally, that will change your truth and your perception a little bit, you know, because your truth and perception a lot of times is formed by where you stand. And, you know, if you're not moving forward, you're dying, you know, so you've got to continue to evolve. You've got to continue to move, and be willing to be moved, you know, and, you know, that'll change what your truth is. That'll change to an extent I mean, look at how you've transformed over the last 3 years. Look at, you know, I believe I've transformed since I retired. I definitely have transformed, you know,
Since becoming a granddad.
becoming a granddad. I mean, we were talking earlier as the director was positioning the lights and the camera, you know, how much, you know, one of the things I've noticed that he's brought to me is patience. And another thing that he has brought to me, and this is why I'm so looking forward to the holidays, is every time he experiences something for the first time, it's like I'm experiencing it for the first time through his eyes. To see the wonder of him looking at a Christmas tree, to see the wonder of him looking at a Thanksgiving decoration, to see the wonder of him looking at something as crazy as the lid of a crock pot, you know, it forces me to see the world around me through a different set of eyeballs. And I am, you know, I think being able to do that, going back to the patience and being a granddad, you know, allows me to see what he sees through his eyes and kind of experience what he's experiencing for the first time. Because everything's new to that kid. You know, everything's new to him, you know, and, you know, I got to touch it. I got to shake it. I got to twist it. You know, I probably want to taste it.
Yeah.
So, you know, getting him to see the world through his perspective is really neat.
It is. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. And what's really cool, talking about how my worldview has changed so much in the past, you know, 4 to 5 years, particularly since having Johnny, I think one of the major contributing factors of that is that you have been very gracious to my changing worldview. You've allowed me to change how I think about something without shaming me, of being like, yeah, well, you remember this dumb shit you used to believe, you know, which I'm sure you've wanted to say before.
No,
you
I
know,
don't.
but you don't. And the only times you talk about me changing my worldview is just in like a positive light. So I think that's really important, is like, if you're trying to make an argument and get somebody to see something your way, when they do, don't be an asshole about it.
You can't.
You know,
I mean,
like,
that's not going to help. You can't rub
you
their
know,
nose.
like just be nice.
I told you so should never come out of your mouth, right?
Exactly.
And, you know, like I said, we all change. I mean, I believe that there's seasons in our life, and as we move through these seasons, our views will change, should change. I'm thankful that I don't have the same views of the world that I had when I was 22 or 23.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I've grown up. But and you can't force those changes on anybody.
No.
It has to happen, and you have to embrace it with them, whether you agree with it or not. I think it's important that you embrace it on them, and you don't let somebody's political beliefs. I work very hard at this. I try not to let anybody's political beliefs determine how I feel about them or affect our relationship. Because at the end of the day, to me, what you believe politically, it's just not that daggum important.
Right.
It's not worth a wedge in a family.
No, certainly not.
It's not. We can not talk about it.
Yeah.
There's a million other things we can talk about, and we'll find some common ground, right, on something.
I think like foundationally, you are really good at like respecting people and treating people with respect. So like when you don't agree with somebody, you respect them enough as a person to not allow it to impact like your
part
relationship
of it is that too,
with them.
and then part of it is I don't have the bandwidth or the desire to have conflict in my life. I don't. There was a time where I sought it out.
Yeah.
There was a time where I sought it out. Don't get me wrong. When things are a little bit chaotic, I think I thrive. I enjoy when I don't enjoy when things aren't going well, but I enjoy when there's a problem to solve or a little pressure. I think that that forces us to act and react. But I don't have the bandwidth to carry a grudge.
Yeah.
I don't have the bandwidth to stay mad at somebody. I may get mad at you, but I'll get glad in the same pants I got mad in.
That's
true. By the end of the day, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I don't have the bandwidth to carry a grudge. I don't have the bandwidth to, or the desire to carry a negative attitude towards somebody.
Yeah.
I don't, and I just as soon not talk to you, but I don't have that, there's not, I couldn't sit here and make a list of people that I could probably write 2 names down,
Hopefully they're not watching. I'm sure
I could probably write 2 names down.
I probably know one of them.
And that goes back like a long time. I could probably write down 2 names of people I just wouldn't care if I ever saw again.
Yeah. Well, and that's another reason. I think it's very unique to have a dad-daughter duo on a podcast because we're from 2 different generations. We're at 2 very different stages in our lives. We agree on a lot. We do not agree on everything, but at the end of the day...
That will come. And we have some heated exchanges on the morning drive. I'm telling you what.
And we might have to put some of them behind a paywall, but they will probably come out.
Yeah, we'll have to do something because there's a couple of disagreements that we have that I will not talk about in this forum. That's morning drive only.
At the end of the day, I reckon we can always sit down together.
I reckon we can.
And have an excellent conversation and walk away, say I love you.
Oh, absolutely.
And all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And I hope that everyone watching today takes that forward this week. We'll be praying for you, hoping that you don't have any weird political conflicts. Thanksgiving is coming up, guys.
No quicker way to ruin a holiday, man. Don't let it come to the table,
man. Keep a deck of Uno cards in your back pocket in case it gets weird.
That'll give you just the right amount of confrontation. That's what you're looking for. Draw 4.
Yep.
So-and-so.
Reverse.
Draw 4 again.
So I reckon that's it for episode 2.
I reckon.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Christ is King. See you next time.